Sivarj, is that how you say your name? Can you please try typing in the chat? I just want to make sure it's working. Hi, did I say your name correctly?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna wait a bit till Patrick joins and everyone else, and then we're gonna do like some like intro, quick light intro, and ask you where you're from and that sort of thing. If you want to get your cup of tea or something, we still have like a few minutes.
Okay.
Hi,
Hey,
how's it
how are you,
going?
Sarah?
How's it going?
It's going well. How about yourself?
All good?
Yeah? Are you keeping
Yep.
warm?
Yeah, I'm trying to, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. It got cold over here this past week.
Same here. It's really cold, yeah. Thank you for joining.
No worries. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
Patrick.
Hey, good morning, Sarah. Hang on here. There we go.
Like 4 minutes, or let's say 5, 6 minutes, just to give people a chance to join, and then we can start.
Totally. Absolutely.
And I started recording, so we're good.
All right. We got the AI bots are going to be watching us, watching our call. Good morning, Silverage. Have I got that right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Where are you calling from?
So I'm from India.
Oh, nice. What time is it there?
10 p.m.
Oh, dedicated soul. Dedicated soul. Gonna try not to be too loud, wake the kids. Good
Sorry.
morning,
Too
Edwin.
loud.
Good morning, Patrick.
Morning, sir.
It's
What
Edwin.
about
He's
you?
saying
Where are
Good
you from,
morning.
Edwin?
I am from Chicago. How about yourself?
Good. I'm in Vancouver.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, the wet coast, we call it. It rains.
How's the temperature out there now?
You know, it's about 1 degrees, which is what, 33, 34 degrees in Vancouver. So you're in Chicago, you get a whole different weather system there in Chicago. I know. The lake effect.
A little bit. It's a bit chilly. I was telling Sarah that this week we got like on Tuesday it was high of I think 2 or 1 and
Mhm.
low of -12 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in Eastern Canada, playing in a snowbank in 20 below, no problem at all. But I moved out to Vancouver like 30 years ago, and I don't do anywhere near zero now. I'm like a reptile. I seize up when I get close.
It can be rough.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone gets used to the snow. I'm telling you that from experience. Okay, I've been here 5 years or 6 years now, and still.
Yeah. We're kind of lucky in Vancouver. We're a little bit like Seattle, I think, Edwin, in that we don't get a lot of snow. We get maybe about 2 weeks a year, 2, 3 weeks.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I think there's just like two, like kind of like you. I think there's like 2 or 3 weeks where it just gets really, really bad, and everything else is kind of tolerable. Once we're past that stretch, we're like, oh, okay, well, like it's 20 degrees. It's not as bad as it was that one week where it was negative so and so.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, it could be worse. We know it could be worse. Yeah. And lots of snow too, right? You'll be getting
I'm sorry,
lots
what
of
was that,
snow.
Patrick?
So you get lots of snow too. I think
Yeah, we do. We
yeah,
do.
more than that, yeah. So you got to keep coming east, Sarah. As soon as you get the other side of the mountains, it's less snow. So
More people are joining.
perfect.
Rose is Shehrose? Am I saying your Umar? Hey guys. Where are you joining us from?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
How are you?
We're very well. We're very well. We're saying it's morning where we are. It's probably late where a lot of attendees are from.
I'm from Pakistan. Hello.
Oh, okay. So it's your evening as well.
Inshallah.
Yeah. We were talking about snow. Edwin, I used to sell vehicle location systems. So the city of Chicago was one of our clients, and I think they had like 2,700 snow plows, something like that.
Wow.
And we have 3 in Vancouver.
Wow.
Gives you an idea.
I'm sure we don't use the 2700.
Every now and again. Yeah.
I'm
It
trying
doesn't feel
to
like
put
it.
Patrick and myself in the middle. I'm sorry if this is annoying. I'm just trying to like make it look like a event versus just a meeting. So I'm not sure how it looks on your side, guys, but it looks
No, it looks
right
great.
on it. Looks good. Okay.
Maybe do something about my gray eyebrows. That's how about that? We get effect there. I have one for each daughter. Mm. Fine. Couple minutes. Crowd join. So Sarah and I met 2, 3 years ago, working for a really cool company that was just growing like a weed. I think they acquired 12 companies in 18 months. It was crazy. It was the Wild West, right, Sarah? It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Really cool company. Sarah was our search engine expert, and I was the sales onboarding. I used to onboard new people, tell them what we did and how we did it. That was a great job. Good. Another minute or so. Looks like people still joining. Somebody's joining with a nice Audi. Looks like an R8 Strydic. What kind of Audi is that Strydic on your icon? Oh, he's on mute. Perfect. From anytime, Sarah, we can jump in.
Yeah. Like give it one more minute and then we.
Perfect. You
Okay.
bet.
Thanks for your patience, guys.
We used to have all these international calls, Edwin, and unfortunately, the North Americans would talk about hockey for the first 5 minutes. Nobody else would understand. I guess maybe if we talked about cricket or something like that, it might be.
I can talk about, I think, to a degree, soccer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Are you from British? You follow the European leagues?
I'm more on the America side, so
Oh.
Latin American leagues.
Excellent. My nephew is in university first year on a soccer scholarship. He's a goalie, which as we
That's
know is a
awesome.
little, yeah.
My son got into the World Cup. Well, he got into soccer when he watched the World Cup from about 3, 4 years ago, and then he got us hooked into it as well.
Oh yeah, it's pretty exciting. Most recently, my son got me into Formula One. So I'm a Formula One fan now.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we can get started.
Excellent.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah. I've been doing SEO for 10 years. This is Patrick. Please, Patrick, go ahead, introduce yourself. Patrick is a sales veteran. You will be overwhelmed, not overwhelmed, what was the right word? Take
Intrigued. Let's go with
Intrigued by his
intrigued. Yeah,
experience. Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, well, welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, and it was fun to talk about your passion in your career, which has been sales. A little bit of my background. I've been in sales for over 30 years. Interesting. I'm a bit of a nerd. I started out as a programmer. I used to write applications. I've written payroll systems and all that stuff. So I started out again writing applications in a room full of app developers, and they discovered that I could talk to people. So of course you end up on the help desk after that. So I was on help desk for a few years, which was great because you got a chance to see how technology and people interacted. Somebody said you should be in sales, so I ended up in inside sales and then outside sales and sales management and VP of sales, all the way up. Another interesting aspect of my background is I've noticed over those years I tended to work 5 years for a big company. Like I started with IBM, and then but I have an entrepreneurial spirit. My dad was an entrepreneur, so I usually work 5 years for a big company and steal all these great ideas, and then go work for either myself or a small company for 5 years or so, and put them in play, which has been great. We've been very successful in doing that. So I've had the pleasure of working with companies, Oracle, Hewlett Packard, and most recently Microsoft, mainly in their sales and sales enablement, teaching people how to sell. I very much enjoy it. It's a wonderful aspect of what I do. I train all kinds of people that have never sold before, people that are President's Club winner in sales, all different aspects. It's quite a varied profession. But it always comes back to what I've enjoyed most about selling is helping people. If I had to sum it up, the best salespeople I've met over all those years, President's Club winners, have just had a passion for helping people. There was a survey a few years back about what are the most successful traits of highly successful people and successful salespeople in particular. And the first trait most people think is a gregariousness or a talker, or, but it's not. As a matter of fact, a lack of gregariousness was a positive trait. But the most positive trait for sales was conscientiousness. They got back to people. They did what they said they were going to do. They were there to help, too. So that meshed. The other thing I have in sales I've enjoyed very much is I've always had a curiosity about business and a variety of businesses. So, I think in sales you have to be a bit of a chameleon to have that curiosity to walk into a business and say, what's going on? What do you do? How do you make your money? These sorts of things. So, sales for me has been a way of helping. Sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
No, I'm just commenting. You said you trained a lot of people, and I'm considering those sessions as training for myself. And I think I'm going to be the most challenging trainee you'll meet. I'm
No.
very thick on sales.
Yeah.
And obviously discovery calls, which is our today's topic. I find them challenging, Patrick. It's not easy to get on a discovery call and just, I don't know. I don't know
Oh, yeah.
what's the right thing.
Yeah.
Like how would you train someone, or how would you tell someone what's the best way to run a discovery call?
Okay, perfect. No, a discovery call is a magic moment. And most of the people on the call are marketers, right? Your job is to set up this call. So I appreciate your interest in it, Sarah, in the discovery call, because I think of all your efforts, this social media, the SEO, to get people to raise their hand to actually join a discovery call is a momentous thing. It's a moment that matters. Right. So thanks for a chance to talk about this. We're gonna talk about it from the point of how would you run a call. And by the way, we love questions. The goal of a discovery call is questions. And what I also say is, as we're talking now in the chat, if anything occurs to you, please just send a question. We're going to answer your questions after. Sarah's got them on too. So I can't say enough. We love questions. So a good discovery call is designed to get the customer asking questions. So first off, when I get a call, I look at the context of who's reaching out. I bring it back to the person on a discovery call. So there's something called KYC, which is know your client. And that's really the research phase before that call. So I'm an incurable researcher. So if I'm going to get on a call, I look at who am I going to meet with and what do I know about them, right? About that particular person. So that's where LinkedIn comes into too. So just from an email, sometimes you can do an awful lot of searching on that. If at the call, sometimes if you got the meeting invite and it includes other people, 3 or 4 other people, again, if you have a day or two to get ready, very important to know who they are as well. So I literally have a process I follow that who's going to be involved in this call and what do I know about them? You know, that particular person. The next thing I widen up the scope on the research is, okay, what do I know about their company? You know, and you should read their news or, you know, it's getting a lot more easier to do with AI. You know, what are the latest developments in this company, you know, too. So research is very, very important to you know, because my motto is seek first to understand, then to be understood, right? On that. So in all this research, you're kind of looking for latest trends. You're looking for, you know, new announcements, a merger, a divestiture, things like that. Not that you're going to use it in the call, but it's good background to understand what's driving it. And I think it's what we call table stakes now. They almost expect you to show up on a call having, you know, what they do, right, and how they do it. So I go one layer deeper and go, who is this person? What's their background? Or these people on the call? All right. So I'm going to say first with sales call, you have to relax into it because you know what? It's actually if you think about it, it's the easiest call in the world because somebody has raised their hand. They've said, I want to talk to you. Right. So you want to know the absolute easiest, you know, question. And this is a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine who works for Microsoft. He's got the best discovery call, you know, launch in the world. He says, you know, good morning, Susan. Thanks for seeing me. You know, you kind of know I work for Microsoft. You've agreed to see me today. What's on your mind? You know, because people really don't join a discovery call to talk about you. They want to talk about themselves or their problem or their challenge or their idea, right, in sales. So the first thing is to get the right frame of mind. Not to worry. The actual natural flow is they want to tell you what's going on. They've raised their hand. They've done a contact form. So relax into it a little bit that way. That's the easiest one. I have a little more of a formal one that I run, you know, the process of that call. I do introductions, you know, which is very important. So the idea of going around the guys, I say, good morning, everybody. Sarah, you know, Edwin, thanks for joining us today. Listen, you know, we got a half an hour. Is that right for everybody? You know, it's always good. There's an acronym called ASK. You ask for the time. We got a half hour. Is that right? Or we got 20 minutes? Everybody out. That's good. Okay. You know, I just want to do introductions. Can I go around the call? Just find out who you are, you know, what you hope to get out of the call today. I'll go first. I'm Patrick Hogan. I work for PDF Tron. I want to understand what your project is about today. Susan, you know, and so go around the room. It's important because some people, a lot of times, other people on that first discovery call have been invited by your sponsor, your champion, right? And they really kind of don't know who you are, right? Too. So, you know, sometimes the financial person will say, I'm here because Tom invited me. So there's a process to follow in a discovery call that, you know, so first is who's around the room, and then there's an agenda. We always have an agenda because an agenda kind of keeps things on track. Because I get asked often, what happens when somebody's hijacking the call? They take up the call. You want to have the agenda up to say, hey, Tom, listen, that's a great important topic, but I know we want to get through a bunch of stuff today. You know, let's get back to that at the end of the call. You know, something like that. So when having an agenda, and I've got some samples I'll put up in a second here, I'll share the screen of what it would be. So discovery call, Sarah, is you know, pretty straightforward, really. As quick as possible, you want to get them talking. Right. And the
So
best way to do that is just go ahead.
So it's more about listening versus bringing something to say, but you need to be prepped to understand the person in front of you, like the person you're having a conversation with.
Very much so. Yeah, active listening. If you want to look up a term, active listening. I'm working with an educational institute, and
But you know, sometimes you get on a call and so you want to share first your you wanted to share something, or should I go ahead and
no,
continue?
go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, sometimes you go to a call and maybe the client is either saying a lot of irrelevant information or less than what you want. Like, I mean, less you're gonna ask more questions, but what about like when it like how would you control or manage that conversation in such a way
Yeah.
that you are able to understand what you need?
Okay. Again, having an agenda is first, and then you know, asking with very simple questions. You're following a process, and I was taught by IBM this years ago, and it's so true. you're following a bit of a process that says, what are you looking to do? Susan, thanks for joining me today. I see you filled out some information. Please, what are you looking to do? My favorite one, to be honest with you, if you're looking for terminology, my favorite is, okay, what are you looking to do? What are your goals for the project? What's the business case for the project? In other words, what are you doing? And the next question is, how? How do you see this happening? And I'm going to explain why that's so important to stop at how in a second. Because the customer, you may have a vision right away. We're all very smart people. The customer says, I want to put on a marketing campaign to attract more clients in this segment. Right away, we're thinking, oh, I know how to do this, right? This is perfect. We're anxious. But it's important to say, how do you see that happening? Or how do you see us helping? Things like, so what, how, and very important is the final one is why. That's what I cannot stress enough. You got to, if you got to know, and that's why I say business, asking about the business case, because why in a quantifiable manner. So in other words, if somebody says we hope to do, we've increased our sales by 20%. My next question would be, oh, what's the sales now? And if they say, oh, it's $5 million now, 20% in my mind, I work out and go, well, that's $1 million. This is $1 million conversation we're having here. Please, that's a good why, right? So what, how, why, you're following that. Another one, here's where most people get caught is as soon as I say, Miss Sarah, what are you looking to do? And Sarah says, well, I need help with a marketing program. 95% of salespeople, let alone non-salespeople, go, we do marketing programs. Let me tell you all about my marketing program. And they interrupt the client. So, the goal of any discovery call is to get them talking. If you can, to answer in that framework. What are you looking to do? And that's the easiest one. What are you looking to do? So relax into a discovery call, Sarah, is the first thing I'd advise. Next process is a little bit of, yeah.
So sorry to cut you off. I have a timing problem. One more thing you said, and I really liked, is it's your the most important point to make a good impression, or your only or first chance to make a good impression, right?
Yeah.
How do you make sure you make a good impression in a discovery call?
By being organized. By being organized, right? It's the best way to do it. You've got your agenda up. You're on the call 5 minutes early. You're conscientious. Remember that conscientious? Most, I think is being organized. Your homework's done. You've got a process. You've listed out some questions you want to ask them based on your research. Hey, I see you're acquiring a new company. How will this affect this program? Having those questions. But by far, if I say a skill you have to work on is that active listening, because most people are not listening. They're waiting to talk. Right. So as soon as I say to you, Sarah, I'm looking at a marketing program, and you're thinking right away, how, your mind goes to that, right? Too. So it's having that discipline when the client's talking, not to interrupt them, too, because I do that a lot. I suffer from that, because that's gold. Because we looked at thousands of phone calls, recordings of sales calls, and the most successful one is maybe a 50% customer talking, they talking. I like myself a 65-70% customer talking, and I'm just asking good questions. Right. The other thing I would say to get the most out of the call, Sarah, is kind of know what you need from that call to qualify them. Is this somebody I want to do business with? Do you know what I mean? Is it because that's another thing in sales, the best salespeople is not everybody you can help. And it's best to know that sooner rather than later, if you will.
Yeah,
Right,
that's a very good point. How would you get a sense of that? Is there something specific you would ask or?
Yeah, you get a lot from the what, how, why. Have just writing it down. What, how, why? What are you looking to do? How do you plan on doing it? And why is this important to you now? Right.
Sometimes go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I mean,
I love
sometimes
questions. I'm a trained salesperson. I just interrupted you. I'm a trained salesperson where whatever the client wants to say, or if you're on a call and a client waves their hand, it's a good answer. Oh, Susan, you have a question. Right. That's another trait of my buddy there, the Microsoft guy, is he'll prepare, 10 days for his presentation and he starts to give it, I'm going to go into this thing and nobody's going to stop me. I've been preparing for this thing and he'll start to go. But if somebody in the audience goes, he stops. Oh, yes. Yeah. Because he says what the customer has to say is 10 times more important than anything I have to say. So it's the active listening and the discipline and the self-control to say, hey, customer's talking, it's gold, right?
Sorry. I just muted someone. I just want to make sure everyone can listen. So I'm sorry about this. Okay. Yeah. Okay, one of the things I try to use to quantify, and please, guys, if you have any questions around this, drop them or comments, drop them in the chat. I try to tell, like, give the customer an idea about my price range just to see if we're aligned or not.
The place for that typically is at the end of the call when you in your mind said, yeah, there may be something here. I think I can help them. And it's always good to know about the $1 million. So that's why the why is good, right? It all feels back to, so, it's good to, at the end of the call, say, I think we're a fit, Judy, so what do you think? It's a bit of a call a trial close. And that's when they say, well, I don't know, we got to think it over and all that sort of stuff. Then you don't need to talk rates. You know what I mean? You really haven't closed them or sold them yet, just to let you know. So if it's like, yeah, I think we should work together. I'd like to hear your plan, Sarah. What you're going to do is perfect. You say, great. Just so you know up front, I'm not sure what your expectation, but here are my rates, stuff too, and I don't mind maybe doing this initial assessment for free or something. I'll do that, the documents too, but my rates are this, too. Does that fit with your budget? And again, there's times when you say, does that fit with your budget? You have to have the courage to be quiet. You've asked a question and it deserves an answer. So people are uncomfortable with silence sometimes. So it's, and you're worth that much. And a lot of times, if you've done your work up front with the what, how, and why, you know what's at stake. Right? And that's very, very important. People ask me sometimes, we talked about what happens when you get ghosted. We had a great call. They love me. I spent 10 hours on the proposal. I sent it to them and now I don't hear back. We talked about ghosting, right? What do I do about that? And I said, well, you kind of have to you killed yourself early before even you sent the email, because you've given them something they want for free. So, if you spent 10 hours, the way to properly say it is, yeah, I'll do a proposal for you. Open your calendar right now. Let's open our calendars and let's book a time when we can review it together. Right?
Question actually here. Isra is asking, so based off this, do you think sending quotes before actually taking the client to the call is a wrong way to do it? Like sometimes you just email clients with the budget for this, or
discussing price before value is understood is a core mistake. You have to understand. Somebody wants a price, what's your rates? You know what? I need to talk to someone first to understand what it is. Talking price before value is understood is a core mistake. But that's why early on, remember what, how, why, and that's why I like the word business case, because business case, if you're doing it properly, they would have said something like, well, we hope to increase 20% on $5 million in sales. So so you've come back with that $1 million. So that's how you get by ghosting. If you understand that, is you call them back and say something like $1 million a year is $5,000 a day. It's been 2 weeks. That's 14. Well, what's that? That's $8,000. You've lost in sales. Because we haven't done this project together yet. That's a little bit of a rough way to do it, but
you need some quick calculations just to give an estimate or a feeling of how your contribution is going to help them.
Well, you tie it back to the why. Yeah.
And that also goes when you after the discovery call and you want to go back to them with a proposal. That's the same. You don't also just slam it.
Never send the proposal. Never send the proposal by email.
Okay, here is a question from Edwin.
Yeah.
How would you manage a prospect who insists on seeing the proposal prior to a meeting? I was pitching someone who wanted the proposal because they were going to talk to their board of directors on securing budget. There was a sense of urgency. Yeah,
but you had a meeting with them first. You had a discovery call. So I think that is what you're saying. If we have a proper discovery call up front, too, that's about the only way. Yes, sometimes it's that case. They want to put you forward, right? But what I'd say is you should have a call with them about your proposal before you finally send it for the board to review that it's right. There should be a call in between, right? And it may have been the call you already had. I think if you do a good discovery up front, you probably have all the info you need to be comfortable. And by the way, one of the questions you ask, what, how, why, is who else is involved in this decision? What are their priorities? And the most important, I didn't touch base, was when. Obviously, don't forget to ask when this needs to be done by, so you get a sense. Because I've had projects where it's great, we can help them do the proposal, and the last night I forgot to ask when. They say, great, this is going to be for 2 years from now. I go, oh no, I should have asked when. Because
also, so I've learned a lot from talking to you while prepping this. So I think maybe Edwin maybe can also tell them something like, okay, sure, I'll send it, but I want to walk you through it to make sure it's clear. And then one thing you also I learned from you is that never finish a discovery call without booking the next one.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, because even in that case, Edwin, I would say, great. When will you present it to this group? You know, when will they make a decision? Because again, we have CRM nowadays. I'd put those dates in there. So I'm calling on the day after they presented. The other good thing about that is, as Sarah said, when you had that pre-send you the proposal, because I know I have to send you the proposal call, you know, you do want to, you're helping educate him on how to sell you internally, right? Because that's
Okay.
because that's uncomfortable because you know, when you send that proposal, you're going to rely on this person presenting to that board your proposal.
Yeah.
So I think if you have that chance just before he goes into court and makes your case, that you've discovered you've done this, you've reviewed your proposal with him, you've reminded him that there's $1 million at stake, you know, and you know, you've hit all the nice marks too. So by the way, you know, when you get that $1 million, you quantify what's in it for you, what are the numbers? It's very important to get numbers. That really helps your case to understand that. So to me, the goal is when a customer gives me a number of some sort. We increase our sales by 5%. I say right away, what are sales now? You know.
Comment from Rose. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly.
Yeah.
So he says, I've grown a British client's revenue from 4K to 1 million in a year, solely using SEO, no social media or paid ads. So now they ask me, we need a contract, and I give you percentage on sales, how much our proposal and my full project management fee. We are a 4-person team. What our expectation? If it's not clear, we
Oh
can
my
ask
God.
Shahroz to unmute himself and jump in.
Why don't you do that, Sharos? And I'm going to read it at the same time. Yeah, it was longer
Yeah.
than I have only got about a small section of it here. I'll see
You
if I
want
can
to
read
jump
it.
in?
Yeah.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
There's just some background noise.
You
Usually
may
it's
have
coming from
somebody.
my side, but today it's not me, so I'm happy.
Well, that's okay. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to read the email real quick here. Uh,
You want to try again, Shahroz?
Can you hear me
Okay.
again?
Yep, that's
Yeah,
better.
absolutely.
Way better.
So now they ask
Okay.
me
So
how much a proposal. I'm just reading your note here, Sharos. We are a 4-person team. So they want to give you a percent of sales as payment.
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, when we started their business and their sale was 4,000 pound per month, and now
Yeah.
with I'm starting their project on 2022 1 January, and right now I hope today is 24 January, so I cross 1 million in a year only with
Yeah.
SEO. So at
Okay.
the
Well, that's
first
great. Excellent.
yeah, so first time, for example, I got, for example, 400 pound per month, maybe
Yeah.
350 exact. So right now I'm charging 800 per month, but right now I'm giving my full time 24 hours, my teams, everything's in their
Yeah.
business. So they ask me, I need to contract with you because you are my full time
Yeah.
business partner
Right.
and I work with you. So what about
Yeah.
my proposal?
Well, here's what I look at here, and I love it when you give numbers. That's what I'm saying. The important. So right now they're at $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know they want a contract, and so the next question for you to think is how much do I think I can grow them next year? Right. So let's say
Yeah.
25%. I'm gonna or say
Yeah.
50% makes it easy. So $500,000. So you think, you know, they think, and hopefully you agree, that with your SEO services and what you've done to keep that trend going, you can generate an extra 500,000 pounds, right? So the
Mhm.
question is, how much of that pie are they willing to give you, right?
Okay,
So,
so
I mean, it can be, I've seen 5% and I've seen 50%. It really depends on what you do. So, you know, it depends on what the 1 million is, if it's consulting service. But does that make sense? What you're starting in your mind is, okay, how much, if I can increase 25% on their £1,000,000 now, that's 250,000, you know, that's what it's worth to them. That's what they think. So what do you think is your fair piece of that? Does that make sense?
yeah,
Yeah. You know, I
yeah,
mean, I wouldn't ask for the whole, you know, 250,000 on 25%, you know, too, but, you know, give some thought. The other thing I work out is how, you know, I got 4 people you mentioned, right? You know, to what's your payroll and how much time will they spend, on this particular project, right? You can usually just work very rough numbers out to sort of say, okay, I'm going to put 4 people at 25% of their time on this project. What's their salary? Work it. Okay, then I know my cost is roughly going to be. I'm just picking numbers out of the air, 100,000 K. On this deal, right? So I better not take less than 10%.
CEO
So,
standpoint here, I
from,
know this is relevant, but I'm jumping in. I think
yep.
one of the things I like, and I agree with everything Patrick said, awesome. I also want to say that you should know your like if this is gonna be a retainer, how much you would charge, and then the percentage would definitely should get you more because it's a bigger risk, right? So so just something to think about,
Yeah.
which is not sales, obviously, but I have to jump
Yeah,
in.
no.
And
Yeah, no,
they offer
absolutely.
me for example, they offer me a proposal. For example, if I increase their salary, for example, not salary, their revenue, for example, 50,000 for next year, for next
Yeah.
month. So they offer me, for example, 500 pound when we increase 50,000. So what you suggest? Is it little amount or we need to increase?
I didn't quite get the question. So, but I did hear you. They gave you. They're offering you a 50,000 pound bonus if you.
Yeah, it's a bonus, but they fix my pay for monthly basis is 1,000 pounds.
Oh, I see. Fix it. I don't know. I think if you had the kind of success you had, you might. You got some negotiating power. With them to do what you think's best. Again, I like a percentage of the sale if they're growing. That's a nice long term. Too. But I had a boss used to do this. He used to put carrots out there and then say, okay, well, I know if we set the goal and we've agreed that 25% growth is good, so 250,000 pounds. He would say things like, okay, but if you can get us to £500,000, I'll give you an extra 50,000 pound bonus. Nothing. I don't want to get down too much on this, Shiroz. I'm going to put up my LinkedIn after. We can have a conversation on this and discuss. I don't want to hijack the rest of the call. Too.
Okay.
Reading,
Okay.
is that okay? I'm going to put my LinkedIn contact up on at the
Appreciate the
end.
Okay.
conversation. We really appreciate questions. So thank you so much, Shiraz.
Yeah.
Going back to going back to
I
our
was going to say, I'm
topic.
just reading
Yep.
Sherman's contact here about context.
Yep.
Sherman
Sure.
Fu is just really quick.
Okay.
Yeah, context is everything, Sherman. And that's why, as I say, the know your client, doing your homework up front is understanding as much context about the person and the company and even the industry they're in, what's going on in that industry. Understanding that context prior to going into the call is extremely helpful. It's conscientious and what makes a good salesperson. Yeah.
Thanks.
CEO,
And
I'm
again,
sorry. I keep interrupting. Sorry
Okay.
about this.
Okay.
no, it's
I
great.
would
No,
also look at someone's saying something. Okay. I would just also look at competitors and their growth so I can compare and estimate how much I can grow the business for them, right? Anyways, let's go back to sales. Anything else before we go to the next point? I don't want to feel like I cut people off or interrupted anything. I'm good.
we won't hang up until every question's answered. How about that?
Perfect. Okay, so we were talking about discovery calls. From your experience, Patrick, how does a perfect discovery call look like? And what is
Um,
the mistakes you've seen people do in discovery calls?
Okay. If I can share my screen, I'm going to show
Yep,
just a little
please.
small. It's a standard PowerPoint that I've used over the years. It's only about 4 or 5 slides long, but it helps keep the conversation on track of the I call the perfect discovery call, really. And here's the thing: the cores again is you've done your homework on them, or if you even better yet, you've had some conversation with them early on about what their needs are, what they hope to get out of the call. So I'm just going to share real quickly here. Oh, I got to send a request. Sarah, you might have to enable me.
I enabled it. Is it
Let's try it here.
can
I see it there.
you see I can see it.
Is that right? I'll try it.
Um
There it goes. I can share now.
no, you can share. Okay.
I can, yeah. Okay, this should say PDFtron. This was a company I was working with. So this was called. The first thing I'd say when you're preparing this deck, you have your
Sorry to
standard
cut
deck
you
like
off,
this.
Patrick. Can guys, you all can see the screen? All good? Just a thumbs up or like just leave a comment in the chat.
Yeah, thank you. I've done that where
No,
you're
no,
just
it's
talking
okay.
away
I've done
and
all the
nobody can see.
mistakes in the planet, so I sort of like
Me too. Good call. Are we good?
Yep, I think, yep, everyone said yes. Okay.
Okay, perfect. So you small little things, like I take their logo. So this was a call with PCL Construction. It's a $7 billion construction company. So I take their logo. It's the simplest thing to do. And I put it on the call. And this is the screen that's up when people are joining the call, the discovery call. So again, all the little things, that do that. So it says to people joining the call, okay, this call is going to be for us. This is not some drone on type presentation and PDF Tron. Okay, good. Remember, on the call might be people who don't know who we are. Right, too. So that's what you can discover. So I say, I'll start the call and say, good morning, everybody. Thanks for attending today. Let's see if I can change my screen here. First thing I do, I throw up the agenda, leave it on the screen, because there's all different types of people. There are people that are relaxed, people are excited, people are, too. So this kind of throws it up, and everybody kind of relaxes a little bit, too, because it's okay. It's what we're going to talk about today. Right? It may seem like a lot, and sometimes I'll cut some of this stuff out. It doesn't need to be in there, too. But again, it's their logo. It sets up that next stage I was talking to everybody. You started your call with, well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I understand we have a half an hour. That's great. Too. We'll make sure we're respectful of everybody's time. First off, I see some new faces on the call. Too. So if I could, introductions are in order. Can we just go around the call and who you are, what you do, and what you hope to get out of the call? It's important to me. I'll go first. My name is Patrick. I'm your sales account executive, and I hope to understand your needs today. Too. So, and then you go around the call. All right. Then the next slide is really quickly. And by the way, this is one, maybe two slides, but they're important. They're called credentialing slides. And what they're meant to do is set the stage a little bit. You are an expert in what you do. It can be your testimonial. It can be something, just a little bit about you, one or two slides, enough to give everybody a view that this is a player. This person's done this before. There's a sense of confidence here. So here, and I'll show you in our case, I just say this, and this is a bit of even probably too much information, but I just say people use us. They're a software company. I said they use us because they use our software in their applications, and they want to get their applications out fast. So instead of writing their own software, they use our software. So we address a couple of the real key needs of the industry that we hope to talk about. Okay, so that's just one slide real quick. And then this is really, I'll do is, depending who the client is, I'll just actually take one of these. If it's an aviation client, I'll just strip this out and say, here's technology. Yeah, we deal with IBM, Microsoft, Oracle. So it's a credentialing slide, and then I'm right back to our original discovery call, and I'll leave this up pretty much for the rest of the call with him. Now go back. Okay, here's where we are right now, clients, and I would have put this in, but new marketing project, grow your sales, whatever they've told us they wanted to talk about. I put that. It's in there. I put, and that's where you say, what's going on? Please, the mic is yours. Does that make sense so far, Sarah?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Guys,
Okay,
any
cool.
questions? Shoot right away, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about this. It's great, and clients love that. They see the things they want to talk about up there, and they would have reached out and said, "Hey, Judy, yeah, let's get together next Tuesday," because people don't just get together on calls for no reason. They would have said, "Yeah, let's get together and talk about this new cup we're making. I want to market. We want to make a splash in the market with this new project." This new tool or product that we're putting out. So just, new cup project, too. But clients love it when they see their stuff up there, and they know that really quickly, in less than a minute, that we're going to get to what I want to talk about, which is my project. Remember that. Relax on a discovery call. They just want to talk about their project, not you. At the end, they want to hear how you can help them, but you can bet they want to tell you what's going on first, right? So relax into a discovery call. They're actually a lot of fun, especially if you're planned like this. So this section here, Sharon, I'm going to just bounce down real quick to my one-page sales sales form here. Let me slide down.
A question as well. So
yeah.
I think after you finish this slide, I'll pop it in.
Okay, and by the way, we'll put this up, or you can take a screenshot of it. This is 30 years of sales boiled down to one page.
Yes,
and
I like this.
I have this when I'm on my discovery call. And sometimes I'll pre-fill it out with a few things, but it follows what we talked about. A little checkbox. Did I do my introductions? Did I get everybody's expectations right? Did I do my quick credentialing? Because sometimes I won't put the slide up. I get a chance to just talk. Did we agree on the agenda? Oh, do I need to record? Just things I've learned over, you say, Sarah, over time. But here's where I get into kind of what's going on. Oh, I clicked it. It's going to open. And then I'm making notes. I print this thing out because it's a lot easier sometimes just to write these things out. But remember, I talked about what's going on. How do you plan to achieve it? Why is that important? Who else is involved in it and when, right? Because remember, they're going to, if all going well, they're going to agree to a proposal, and they're going to agree to a date to look at that proposal with you, not just send it. the next question I ask is, great, who else should be on the call to review that proposal? Maybe your boss, because they're going to have questions. That's a really good thing to do when you're setting up the, well, let's review the proposal together, is if you know who else is in that buying process, they should be on that call, right? So there's a good thing. So again, and it's a little bit the old typewriter, right? Who, what, how, anything else, who, what, anything else is an important segue to, because sometimes they'll say, yeah, this is one project. Oh no, we have 3 other projects coming up. And you say, do tell, right? And you're listening, right? Because you want to know that, you know, and if they give you a list, that's great, because you want to go back and say, well, tell me about this other project. They may not want to talk about it now. They'll say, no, this is important now, but this is great intel to know what they have. Because once you finish this project, you know, you will, what's next, right? And by the way, I've had these pages with large clients have pages of these things. They may have 20 projects they're working on, and each one's got a what, how, why, and a who. All right. And then when you're done, they say, you know, after a while, they said, no, this is the project. I've told you everything I want about it, and you've asked all your questions. I say, great. Let me hear let me recap what I heard. So the requirements is you want to grow your business by 20%. That's $1 million. That's great. Good requirement. That's why we're doing it. Is this the right priority? Because sometimes they'll give you different priorities. Do we have agreement on what's to be done technically, the business case, any licensing? And is the next meeting booked? This should be in big orange too. Huge red flag, and we can end the call right now if you don't get this, is never end the call that you think is going to be the next step without saying, hey, let's open our calendars and let's book the next date now. When's open for you to discuss it? Because if there's not a clear and actionable next step like that, you don't have a deal. You're just asking to get ghosted. So I say something, this is great. And you've already asked them, do you think this is good for us to work together? You know, I think I can help you, and here's how, but do you think we're a good fit? That's a little trial close. That's part of the recap. Do you think we're a good fit? And they'll say, yeah, you know, I like your experience in fishing, you know, whatever it is, right? So that's part of the recap. Do you think we're a fit? Is a good question. And if they say, you know, that's a real important point to be quiet in the discovery call. All right, at that point, I'll take some screen caps. But again, the most important thing is have an agenda. Right there, that slide up, leave it up. It keeps people from getting too far off track. Sometimes I'll put in, after I understood their needs really quick, I'll say, okay, this is great. I understand the project. I think we can work on that. What else is going on in your marketing department? You know, anything else on the horizons, mergers, divestitures? It's good because sometimes they'll reveal things, especially if the conversation is going well and they're a talker, right? Now, this is going for the gold ring here. If you got, this is where your experience comes in, and you really think you can help them because they said something up here that just set you on fire. I love fishing, and this is a fishing marketing program. I mean, whatever it is, pick your subject. You should have ready for the call, right, based on your research, a recent way you've helped someone like them before. You know, would you like to hear how we helped Susan over at ABM, you know, do a similar project? Right? That again, this is only after you've understood all their needs and you understand anything else coming down the pipe. Great. Would you like to hear how we've helped someone like you do something similar? And you know, if the client leans in on that, that's huge. You're teaching him something, right? And he'll remember that about you. And remember, because he's got to go now for budgeting or to this panel, you know, and now he's able to say, hey, yeah, we want to go with Erwin here because Erwin's done 3 projects like this recently. You know, and then a quick review of the timelines, Q&A. Next steps is always, what's the most important step? I'm going to stop my sharing here and go back. What's the most important next step at the end of the call? Is it first quiz? Put it in the chat. What's the important?
Okay, quiz guys. What's the most important
What's
step
the most
after
important?
the call?
At the end of the call.
As at the end of the call, yeah. Someone who's been on so many discovery calls, I'm happy to tell you I don't know. I'm not sure what's the
follow
follow-up
up.
email.
Exactly.
Email recap, follow-up.
Open your calendar.
Okay, I thought
Let's open our calendars.
Okay.
There we go. Look at this. We're batting 1,000 here.
I'm so proud of you guys.
Yeah.
I'm the worst student here, Patrick. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. You're a very smart lady.
You're stuck with me. Okay.
It rolls back.
Isra has a question. Should I jump in or I can wait?
Yes. Love questions.
We love questions, and Isra is asking like really cool questions. So she's asking, what if you're a brand new agency, for example, and you don't have much of a portfolio to show?
Well, you worked a little bit before, all the way back to school. You know, I work with the marketing department of a local technology college here, and the students do projects, you know, things like that. There's something. something where you've helped someone, right? Too. Or you know what? Don't worry about it. Leave it out. If it's not awkward, if it's awkward or something too, just leave it out. There's no harm with that. If you've done a good job of understanding their needs, we trust people that we think understand us. So if you've done a good job of listening and noting and recapping, you don't worry so much about the credentialing. That'll come.
There's two questions, one from me and one from Sivaraj. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name incorrectly. Okay, so he's asking, we said follow-up, like emails and that sort of thing. So how many follow-ups can he go for? How many times should he follow up?
Well, not just the one. You book it. You just book
Okay,
the
I mean,
one.
well, I think
You
what
can
they
book.
mean is after the meeting, they send like a recap email, for example, and then maybe a few days later, they ping the client to, hey, how is it going? That sort of follow-up. So
Well, no, you would have agreed. You would have agreed to the next call. I was like, well, you can certainly do that. You can send an email halfway saying, hey, good stuff. But remember, he doesn't have the proposal yet. Right? If
well,
you
I
give
did
the
a mistake.
proposal.
Okay, I did a mistake. So I had a client meeting. I
Yeah.
took the requirements and they asked me to send them the proposal via email. But I
Yeah.
booked the call. Like I booked the next, like I did, as you said, like I finished
Yeah.
the meeting by booking the next call.
Right.
And then I didn't hear from them between the two calls. And I reached out and they said they're gonna get back to me, and then they canceled the call.
You know what? It does happen. First off, don't worry about it, right? The farther you go, the more shots you take, the more likely you are to score, right? On that too. So, and again, I've just found that we talked about the 30 years of experiences. There's certain red flags, in that way, and certain things, do's and don'ts. And you yourself, you're a smart lady. You picked out what it was. You sent in the proposal ahead of time, right?
Yeah,
Too.
but that's because
The
you told
closest
me.
what's that?
But that's because you told me this most of the time. That's my go-to way, actually. Like I just ping the slap proposal.
Yeah. Hang on. Remember, it's a process that's set up early on. A defeat later usually because of something you did earlier, right? And for me, the biggest thing is that did I really understand why they're doing this in a quantifiable way? That's why that why is important. What's in it for you, Mr. Customer? You know what I mean? It's you want to get to that.
I use GA4 to look at how much
I'm
traffic
gonna
is
mute.
coming to your
I'm sorry,
website
guys.
from the KPI.
I'm just trying
Okay,
to
I can
figure
mute someone.
out
To begin, I'm
Great questions, guys. Again, salespeople love questions, and if you're on a discovery call, like that, and the customer waves a pen or does something like that, you want to stop and say, you have something to say. And one of my thoughts is that whatever the customer has to say is a lot more important than what I do, right? Especially if they're leaning. That's a really good sign when they're leaning, asking questions.
I like so much what you said. A defeat later is because something you've done in the past, in the beginning.
Further
Very
upstream, yeah.
like it. Yes, this is it's so good to hear. I like it so much. Because it's not like whatever went wrong, it's not a consequence of something that happened right now. Maybe I shouldn't say, oh, this was not the best way to write that email or whatever. Maybe it started the discovery call. It started when I sent way before I sent anything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, one more question. That's from me. So you mentioned an agenda. Would you go to a discovery call just casual with no slides? You're prepared, but you don't have slides or anything. And would you what I tend to have a casual way. I'm not sure if I should I mean may not
informal
work,
works. Yeah.
not necessarily a deck, right?
Yeah. No, not necessarily. You know what I do have though is a pad of those one pagers. What, how, why. I never go into a call without one of them. Never,
Okay.
right? My brother-in-law is a helicopter pilot. He's been and he's taken off and landing 10,000 times, and he still uses a checklist.
Wow.
Right?
Please thank him for our safety. I like this.
Yes, yeah, I know. Well, pilots, same idea. They use checklists, right? Too.
Yeah.
And yes, so you can be informal. I can have the checklist under my elbow, and literally, like my friend said, please.
Another thing I wanted to ask is how would you what is there any difference between when you're going on a call with a big client enterprise or a small client?
Big client enterprise, yeah, the first thing is there's going to be more people involved. So there's, in a big client meeting, I always ask a great question, towards the end, after I understand what, how, why, is who else is involved in making a decision like this and deciding on what marketing department they're going to go with, right? Who else is involved? And again, when you ask that question, it's a valid question, and most people are uncomfortable with the silence after that. And that's when they'll say, "Oh, you're a VP of marketing." Hopefully, they'll VP of marketing, or to. And that's why also on an enterprise call, there's going to be more people on the call. Or usually on the invite, which is great. If you get the invite a couple of days ahead of time, and you can see, there's all these different emails on there. I try and find out who they are. I'll do all my research. Every one of those names on that, who's going to be there, who they are, right? Because because the financial person, if there's a financial person on the call, you better be ready to talk about some numbers, right? Things like that too. So, again, remember, that's upstream. That's even before the call. That's your KYC, your client, right? Before the call. So that's what we talked about today, is a little bit of the preparation way before the call. As soon as the call is booked, I start preparing.
I have one
You can
last
be
question.
casual. Yeah.
Because I have one last question. I'm sorry if I'm asking too many questions.
I love questions.
I always hear read the room, right? When you join a meeting, you read the room. What does that mean?
Well, that's what that introductions go around the room on a Zoom call is, that's helpful. You see either they're engaged or they're not, too. I'm making notes. Okay, Susan, Tom, Brian, kind of a little bit of notes so I can talk about them. I go right down to their personality type, So you're going around the room and somebody says, "Hi, my name's Brian. I'm really excited about this project." That's okay. Then I better be excited when I'm talking to Brian. I make a note of that. Brian's excitable. Or, "Hi, I'm Tom, the accountant. I'm here to make sure it doesn't go over budget." Okay, maybe I'm maybe I'm characterizing a little bit, but again, going around. Remember the introduction part of it? Very important step. Have I done introductions? Right? Anything more than 5 people, I don't as much. I'll sometimes say, if there's someone like we did today, what do you hope to get out of the call, right? Too. Sherman had another good comment. I saw out of the corner of my eye here.
Yeah, he's saying multiple stakeholders, questions
Yeah.
from various angles, be prepared to be attacked.
Now, here's the first thing as a salesperson. Look at it, the sun's coming up here in Vancouver, so I'm hiding behind the sun here. I look for
He's also
sales.
asking,
Yeah.
I just want to finish, like he's also asking why how should you react if the room seems unimpressed so far? That too.
Generally, they're going to be. People don't they're going to. You have to be prepared for that. Here's the thing. From our brains, the psychology is people make decisions emotionally and then back them up with logic. So they make decisions emotionally. So you look for emotions always, right? Now, for me, Sherman, you use the word attacked. I'm going to be attacked. That's an emotion, right? So I reacted to that. I'm going to say first, okay, the answer to that question is don't go into the call thinking you're going to be attacked. If you're going there, you're there to help. That's always been my frame. Why were you attacking me? I'm just here to understand, right? So who's going to attack you on the call? Well, that's worth noting for sure. Well, Brian, why do we think you should go with you? You're not a big firm, kind of. Okay, good, Brian. Well, because I'm agile. You have your reasons ready, right? Well, yes, absolutely. And even then, okay, it's attacked. How come you're just you're a one-man operation? What's going on? If I got that, I would say, I don't want to be prepared for it, right? You have to know what your differentiators are. So I would say something along the lines of, yes, I can understand. You have to acknowledge the objection. Yes, I can understand how dealing with a smaller firm would be a concern, right? With this budget at risk. I would say, so I understand that. I say, I've had other clients that felt the same. I said, but what they found, these other clients, is that the agility that they get from dealing with a small firm is important to them given the short time frames. Does that answer why you might want to go with a smaller firm? Because I understand when I got back to the what, how, why, you said how is you got to do it in the next month. So time frames are important. So the agility that I bring to the table is a differentiator for me, Sherman. So you can never attack you. You're just there to help. Here's what I'm hearing from you. Why are you attacking me?
I think he meant getting asked too many questions that are not easy to answer, I think.
Again, you want to watch the time. It's always about that, and I love questions. Questions mean people are leaning in.
Questions now, okay?
I love questions. Seriously,
okay,
that's the reward from a good discovery call is lots of questions.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Isra has I'll take. Okay. Isra is saying, what are any specific tips that what information you'd never get into a call without knowing when you're talking about preparing for a client meeting?
Oh, at the very minimum, at the very minimum, I look at their LinkedIn profile or so what can I find them online personally, because it comes down to person. And then there's no excuse for not going to the company page and reading the news, or even now with AI saying what's the latest news on this company. And then so again, they call it zoom in, zoom out. So first, who's this person? How big's their social media footprint? Can I find anything about them? Next I'll say, what can I know about the company? And then next I'll say, what's going on in that industry? So, Shiraz, you're talking about the industry. It's pretty easy to take marketing skills across industries, I find, too. So, I think, there's no reason to drop a good client, especially if they're willing to pay. I'm going to look at anything that way. Especially if you have a good discovery that's open, you have discovery calls. Oh, it's not focused on what you know about that industry. It's focused on, what they want to do, right? And you can go back to the industry later.
Okay, I have
Okay.
one. So I have a question. I'm sorry that I asked too much, and then I
Okay.
have one from Shiroz. Okay, I'll ask Shiroz's first because I can always ask anytime. But we have like 5 minutes, and I want to ask both. So here we go.
Sure.
So Shiroz, I'm not sure if that's relevant to the sales topic, but let's go through it. He says he currently handles 3 clients, 2 in the same industry and 1 in the phone case industry. He received a percentage offer from the same industry clients. Should I focus only on them and drop the phone case client, or keep both? What's the best approach for starting my marketing? My aim always to handle full projects and grow small to big.
Yeah. Well, in small, I had lots of small businesses try and take everything that looks like it's going to pay well. That's really good stuff too. I guess the only high level answer I give you is it's nice to focus on an industry. You know what I mean? To have that specialty. So if you got those 2 clients, it's kind of nice. That gives you a bit of a head start trying to get number 3 in that market. In marketing too. So, but again, if I thought I could help a client who's in a different industry and they're willing to work with me, and kind of play my rate, kind of friend or foe, take the dough, kind of thing. Yeah, up to you. I can't make that without normal context. I would ask more questions about, how much is in it for each of these clients? Quantify them for me. How much is the phone case going to bring in too? But again, I guess I'll end off with the final thought, because we're pressed for time. Is if you can specialize in a market like that, it's kind of worth pushing into that. So then you can have that credibility at the start of your perfect discovery call to say, here's other clients we've worked with in your industry. All right, Sarah. Next question. Love it.
So in the notes you shared, I liked what you mentioned, that there was something about competitors and that we shouldn't, you shouldn't badmouth your competitors just to get, to make yourself
Yeah.
look better with your clients. How would you
Never.
talk about your competitors, and how you would one of the things you mentioned is asking something like, why is their solution not good for the client? And because any client who comes to a discovery call for SEO or marketing services is price shopping, and they're meeting multiple people. Yeah. So
yeah, you want to be aware of that. Yeah, too. No, when they mention how do you stack up against ABC marketing, I guess if the question, that's pretty blunt, right? Feeling attacked. How do you stack up against these guys and stuff too? I don't talk about they never badmouth anybody. No, that's the first rule. Don't do it. So I simply just sort of say, yeah, I'm aware of Sherman and Company, and what they do. They're a reputable firm, if they are. Or you can say, no, I've never heard of them. Be honest with you. So be honest. Honestly, yeah, I've heard about them. They're a reputable firm. It's a little bit like an objection. You acknowledge it. Yeah, they're a reputable firm. What is it about the work that of interest to you? Is my next question. And that way they'll find out what they do find attractive about this competitor, and you can deal with that head on. So very simple. Yes, I understand. I'm aware of Sherman and Company. They're a reputable firm. If I can ask, what is it about that interests you on them, right? And here's what you lead to is they'll say, well, we like their strength. They've got a big department. Okay, that's good. I understand strength's important too. Anything else you like about them? Remember, anything else, right? Anything else? And then finally, you can go back and address the strengths with agility, things like that too. But again, you don't address them. The final question I'll ask sometimes is, so how would you rate them out of 10? They go, well, we rate them, they're an 8 out of 10. I go, oh, great. What do you think it would take to make Sherman and Company, I don't mention them, them a 10 out of 10? And they'll say, well, they're not agile. So in a secretive kind of way, you've actually gotten what they think about you. Sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say you got a cool compliment. Thank you, Isra. So I'm guessing Isra is Egyptian. She said, I just want to say I'm learning a lot from your energy alone, Patrick. Great. Thank you so much, Isra. I'm thanking you on behalf of Patrick. I'm sorry, it's not my place, but Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure. And then again, guys, on LinkedIn, as we talk here, I'll put it back up on the screen here.
Yeah,
This is my link.
Patrick is a wealth of sales knowledge, and that's actually like when I was talking to him, that made a light bulb, a light in my head. I was like, wow, I need to share this with the world.
I enjoy helping people, right? And I'm sure everybody here's the same way, right? And this is how you align it, right? Sales sometimes gets a bad rap. I'm not sure if you can see my screen. Am I still sharing? No, I'm not. This is
No,
we still
I
got
can
some
see it.
dedicated. I'll see if I can share here. We still have some dedicated souls here, so I'll share. This is a QR for my LinkedIn if you haven't already connected.
Perfect, perfect. I'm gonna screenshot that too. Okay, someone. I mean, I'm gonna share I'm gonna tag you in the post afterwards.
Sure.
Um,
QR codes are great, by the way. Have them in the meeting. You have them in part of your slides. I'm using more and more of these because, on that call you're presenting to, especially to an executive of a bunch of people, you may have some energetic people that are into it and you want them to be able to link out and say connection and be on your side, right? Too. So I always use that.
I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Patrick so much. Thank you so much for parting this wealth of knowledge with us. And I'm looking forward for the next. We're going to have this once per month, guys. And please make sure if you have any questions before, any topics you want us to discuss, please do share them. And we're super happy. I'm going to share the video recording of this afterwards. So check your emails. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Super, super happy. I think it went well. I'm not I was a horrible host. I think not like on a
No.
scale of 1 to 10, I'm like 5. Okay.
Sarah, we should mention this is part of a series, right? Which is
Yes,
great. We're gonna have
yes,
a lot of
yes.
fun. We've got a
Yep.
couple of other things
There's
we're
more
gonna dig
coming.
into.
I'm also going to transcribe this and send like a summary of the topics we discussed. So you have text, you have video, you have everything. Thank you, Edwin. I was like, I'm not good. Okay,
We'll
guys.
have to work on that. We'll have to work on that.
Yeah, we'll meet again, and I'm gonna share soon the next topic and the sign up for the event. And thank you all for showing up today. And thank you, Patrick, for your time and your generosity with sharing all this information.
My pleasure, Sarah. Thank you.
Okay, bye, everyone.